looks like. Just don't want it to fall.
It was there for like 4 times.
No, but I wasn't like
Looks like that.
shaking it.
Yeah. Dance on the table.
Yeah,
Big old
it does
wheel
look weird.
All right, we are. Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, I hadn't seen it. I used that.
Oh, jeez. Now we're talking.
Yeah,
All right,
that's okay.
we are up on all the things.
Should we verify before I put these words out?
I don't know. It looks like all the things are up.
We good. All right.
Here, bro.
You have
Mr. Social Media. Let's get on here.
Okay. Welcome to the 034 live chat, episode 125. Getting up there. So real quick to review, I think you guys all know this. I just say it every week just to start with. Q&A session. Ask us anything about 034 Motorsport products and services. Anything you'd like to know. If you want to ask general questions about automotive things, if the most controversial topic you can think of, please ask it. We will respond. Take an OBS approach to answering questions. If you like us, let us know. If you hate us, please let us know so we can figure out what's going on and try to make you like us better.
We're a bunch of good guys here. We're trying.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to like us. We just want you to be happy.
Yeah, right. We want to do right by whatever it is you've interacted with us.
I think, as has been proven by our recent Black Friday campaign on social media, we've actually lost some followers. We offended some people, but I think we made a couple people left. Actually, a measurable number of people stopped following.
The meme storm was too much.
Yeah.
No, wolf this one.
Oh
my God, is he okay?
I don't know.
So not surge dogs.
But the people that didn't leave, the feedback was very good.
Where's my wolf? What's that?
It's not yet.
Oh, that's fine.
So as always,
yeah,
we're here to answer all your questions, to respond to anything you'd like to talk about. There's a weird wheel in the shot. We will talk about that a little bit later. It's not like a 30-inch wheel. I think it's only an 18 or a 19 or something like that. So, get your questions in, and we will answer them through our devices here.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to go from there. Questions coming in?
Yep. Okay. First one, is the pure 750 tune going to come out with the TTE810 tune? No, we are going to do the 810 tune on its own. It's going to stand on its own. And the 750 will be coming along shortly.
Yeah, we're very close to releasing the 810.
Yep.
And then, based on customer feedback, which we take into account, it sounds like 750 is gaining in popularity.
Yep.
And we definitely want to support that, which is interesting because it's been all about tile up until
TTE.
TTE up until recently. So, all right, let's see. Good question. I've noticed that when I buy items from you, the status never changes and there's no tracking listed on my account. Yes. So this is related to the launching of our new to you all website. It's a new website, and there's a lot of lingering technical issues with the website. If you haven't been affected by them, great. But this question highlights one of the things is currently we're working on instituting that functionality where orders are updated and tracking numbers are updated and everything. You may have also noticed there's no reviews on our website. That won't be a long-term thing. We did not get rid of reviews. We will bring all those back.
Yep.
All your old reviews will come back, and then you can leave new ones. And there's our website no longer shows live inventory status. So there's a whole bunch.
Despite all of the testing that was done beforehand,
it's been
the
a kind of
implementation has been a little bumpier.
It's been a rough implementation, which is why probably some companies never even make websites, or they're making a new website, they take down the old one, like kind of like EPL did for 12 years. But we promised we'll get that. The challenge for us was getting the website live and working for Black Friday we've taken thousands and thousands of orders, so it's definitely working. But there have been some bugs. So if you have any problem with our website, any problem with the shopping experience whatsoever, please email contact@034motorsport.com so we can talk to you about it. We don't want you to feel like because you can't do something on our website that you don't have any. There's no one here to help. We are here to help. Do you have any favorite apps or long coding that OBDeleven can add to the B9 driving experience while on your tuning?
I mean, nothing that would be, I would say tuning specific. The long coding stuff is all very much, how do you kind of want your car to interact with you, and what do you want, your lights to, how do you want your lights to operate, your preferences to stick, So no, nothing, most all of that, I mean, is going to be very user specific. There's some cases on some vehicles where you can have, the gear indicator display on the dash persistently or not. That's kind of the biggest one I can think of that links to a tune related thing.
$5.
Your courtesy blinks, all that stuff is all configurable. It's pretty incredible what you can customize on cars these days. But that's very much a personal preference thing. No. There is stuff on like the older on the MQB platform that does affect performance. It is the what's the name of it? It's the starting vibration and starting torque soft coding. If you leave that stock, you will get a very sad launch. So that's something you do have to change to get the best launch.
Awesome says we like you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
We
like you guys too.
We think you guys are awesome. Literally. This question about the high pressure fuel pump doesn't really make any sense.
I don't get it either.
I mean, is he saying it's stalled because of? Yeah, that's what do you think? This is an interesting question. What's the most horsepower you've ever seen a 10-valve turbo make? Well, I was a diehard 10-valve turbo guy for quite a long time. I probably spent about 2-3 years of my life trying to make lots of power with a 10-valve turbo before I finally gave up and jumped over to a 20-valve turbo, a 7A setup. I was really one of the first people online to push any of these motors.
So these, for those that don't know, these are the old, they started in the 70s with a 5-cylinder inline turbo motor.
10-valve turbos came stock in the Audi 5000 Quattro turbo cars, as well as the original Quattro and things like that. So I took an MC 10-valve, which is the stock Audi 5, the latest generation Audi 5000 motor, or the Audi 200 10-valve motor, and I started with basically something that was putting out about 130 wheel, which was a lot. It was as much as my Audi 80 made at the crank stock. And then I continued to turn it up, and I eventually got the car on the full 034 EFI standalone and a big turbo setup. I built a header. It looks like ADTQ.com's down.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was the website where I document all this stuff. Before I started 034 Motorsport, there was ADTQ.com.
Oh,
so we can figure out how to get that back. But I built one of the first tubular headers, anywhere other than in Audi's racing, and I eventually got to 400 wheel, which is a lot.
That's a lot for a 10
valve because they're really hard to get much past 250. It's just a really bad.
It's a counterflow head.
Counterflow single valve head. So I put big valves in it. I ported it. And, eventually had a big turbo on it. Got a cam in it.
Yeah, you can completely change the shape of the port, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I raised the ports. So I filled in the bottom of the ports and then ground or removed material higher in the cylinder. So I actually moved the whole intake manifold up in the head. We later did that work on Christian's 2.5 stroker 10 valve. And that car actually made about 400 wheel too. It just made more torque, but it made... My 2.2 made about the same power. I eventually blew it up at Sears Point, and I was on track, and one of the sodium-filled exhaust valves, the head snapped off, which happens on those. And I still have the piston in my office. But I embarked on building this whole new forged 10 valve motor. I actually had JE make pistons for them. I sold 20 sets of those pistons. I did a group buy. But anyways, the 20 valve like on 6 psi boost made 400 wheel.
Yeah.
The new 20 valve setup that I moved on. But I think the Trans Am cars were rated around 500 crank. So those are probably some of the most powerful, well-developed 10 valves. Those were nothing like production motors. That's a whole new cylinder head. Massive ports, massive valves. But the big issue with the 10 valve is the air goes in, combusts, and then has to come back the same way it goes in. Wow. And in this, the air actually swirls and has momentum. And it's much better to have a cross flow head, which is what all new motors. Air goes in one side, combusts, it goes out the other, and it develops kind of momentum.
Well, never mind
through this
just
combustion chamber.
the space available to go and get air in and out. You're not going through
It's really
a valve.
Yeah. You can make huge, nice valves. So you look at these new 4-valve motors, like all the Audi stuff. Used to be you'd have to like port ahead and put big valves in it to double the factory horsepower. And now on B9s, it's just with bolt-ons.
Yep.
Pretty insane. Yep. If you have any more questions about 10 valves, let me know. But I got really far with it. And then I handed the torch off to Jim Green, and he took it for a couple of years. Yeah. I sold him like all my stuff. I need to do a B8.5 S4 water pump. Any known ones that are better than the OEM water pump?
And it's funny, we talked about this literally last week. Asking, I guess, a class action lawsuit going on about these pumps. But I typically will always go with an OEM pump in these applications. I can't.
Specifically
for this one, yeah.
Not for everything.
Sometimes there's some like aftermarkets that'll go to an all metal impeller where the OEM might have used a plastic that's known to degrade. On this one, I would say the OEM's probably where it's at still.
Yeah,
even though they've got a number of revisions.
Yeah, I'd say OEM on this one. A 2023 034 calendar. We are working on it. Yes. Yes, we will have. We've had one every year for quite a few years. If we have any submissions from milfs, today would be a good day to send.
Oh my!
Mm-hmm. I think we should do a milf calendar. Marketing's intrigued. I don't know. You guys can't see it. The team here is really engaged with this idea.
Sean, write that down.
SQ5 just started itself.
I think we have. I think we have a couple milfs out in the social sphere.
Even after the media sphere. Meme-ageddon.
Oh, the milfs love memes. Are you kidding? Are you dropping the A10 tune today? Not today, but very soon. Hang in there. We're gonna make sure it's real for you, as Clark Diaz Griswold would say. Real or no? It's his cousin. He's always real.
Yep.
One of the features that's coming over.
Mm-hmm.
That's not quite. We're gonna roll that into all of them just yet. That'll be an update coming for everybody. So you can do things. Yeah. You can adjust.
This is an interesting question. We haven't released any of this information, but someone's asking if our horsepower and torque figures for the TTE810 are higher than IE's. So we haven't released any, but you'll see. I mean, our goal isn't to really release the highest numbers.
No.
I'm trying to think what that would be like. Yeah, it's there's a lot more to a tune than the dyno number, peak dyno number.
Yeah, and also, like, all of this is with the caveat that these are all being done on different dynos, different days, different altitudes, different cars, different setups. So the dyno numbers, we try and give you a best representation as we can of what the difference you're going to see from where your car was before to what it is with our software.
And like we always say, it's actually really easy to make a lot of horsepower with factory tuning. You can make peak power.
Yeah,
that's quite easy. And if our goal was to set out to produce a tune that only made the most power on the market, then that would be a much easier thing than what we do now, which is creating.
We could have released that weeks and weeks ago.
But what we actually need to do, and what you want, is making the most power with the most reliability, the best drivability, the best driving experience, the best throttle response, by optimizing the factory fuel system and its limitations in all conditions, including hot and cold, managing the heat that the motor produces at the higher outputs. So we are actually, with these B9s on the TTE810, we are at the limit of the factory cooling system.
Oh yeah.
On the coolant side. This is now a problem. So if you want to take a TTE810 and track it in the summer, cooling system upgrades will need to be.
Yeah, you're going to start getting into power D rates and things pretty quickly.
So, God, I'm struggling to find an analogy. It's like if you go to dinner and the chef is like, "We've made the most filling meal possible tonight. It tastes like shit. You'll fucking shit your pants within 5 minutes, and if you keep eating this, you'll die in 6 months. But boy, will you be full. That's cheap." So like that's not our goal, right? Like we want you to have a great dining experience. We want you to fill up, but we want it to be delicious, and we want it to make you feel good. We don't want you to shit your pants after you eat it. And preferably, you could eat it for a year. You could be our customer for a very long time, and you wouldn't die or have high cholesterol.
Yeah, we're not going to say the pants shitting won't happen.
Well, you might shit your pants on our tuning for a very different reason. And it's possible you could eat something that's so delicious it makes you shit your pants because of your deliciousness, the shock of deliciousness. But gastrointestinally, you would not have any distress.
So this analogy's got some legs.
Right. So,
it's coming.
But I think you'll find, and anyone else will find, that our peak, the numbers that we advertise, which are advertised numbers, they're not a guarantee. No one out there is going to make the exact numbers that IE advertises. But our numbers will be very comparable, within percent, within any kind of margin of error that, or any level of concern that you would have.
I will say, we've been talking about this too. This turbo is one of the first that can make a good deal more than what we are releasing.
The turbo has
there's more available in the turbo than what we are going to be releasing.
We had a situation this morning where someone messaged us asking about one of our 3.0 T-tunes, saying it seems like your power's a little less competition, but it's on a file that has held every single quarter mile record for stock turbo. So it's
right.
That's the thing. Like it's so hard to internet compare them. That's where we try and get drag times for you, or draggy numbers, or some sort of like non isolated test case.
I think these are advertised numbers, right? So they don't. It's like looking at the website of the resort in Mexico. That's what they advertise. When you get there, does it look exactly like that? Who knows? IE spends time creating some numbers that are supposed to represent the power that they're tuned.
Yep.
Their numbers also generated at altitude. And if you don't know about this, go look into it. But they actually have some kind of like pressurization system where they pressurize their intake to try to simulate
sea level.
Sea level atmosphere conditions. 14.5 psi at atmosphere at sea level. And who knows? I don't know. So they're actually forcing air into their motor. I don't know. I've seen the setup. I know what it does. I don't know how well it does it. They're smart guys. It's probably not far off, but I'm just saying there's reasons to be skeptical and not base your entire decision on only the horsepower to be produced.
Exactly. The number of variables is almost impossible to isolate, and really give a direct comparison between any vendor.
Hey, by the way, real quick, we got woofed. Everything's okay.
All right.
The sun.
His job got in the way.
Rose another day. Thank you for
good. Thank you.
Yes, you got a job, you got to work. It's shit. Yeah. That's kind of weird. I'm here at my job. You're watching me do my job.
Yeah.
Where can we place orders for calendars and milfs? Well, we will definitely be selling calendars. We haven't gotten into the milf selling business yet, but I hope to soon as a kind of a new business expansion.
Like,
And only milfs? Is there such thing as only milfs? That'd be really popular. Hi, fellas. Question about the B9 SQ5 SuperDuper Intake. Any word on release date? We do not have a release date. It is in manufacturing phase currently, so it will be coming soon. Someone's also asking the same question about the S34 B9 intake. I'm assuming they're asking about the SuperDuper intake.
Just the S34.
that's the gem. For S4.
Not X or P.
Correct.
Yes. Which would be the SuperDuper.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's also coming. Same answer. Interesting. Just thinking, you ever think about this with milfs? All milfs are someone you'd like to fuck. But if you just go on OnlyFans, there's lots of girls and you might not fuck. So the chance of wanting to fuck a milf is 100%.
Is that the only qualification?
I'm just saying,
In the name, it isn't LF.
pre-qualified.
It's true.
It's pre-qualified. So,
LF, yeah.
True. I
You
think,
know.
okay.
so if you,
Wouldn't
but
be-
you could go on OnlyFans and be like, no, I wouldn't want to fuck her.
Right.
But milfs, it's like you want to fuck her.
Who's-
it's in the description?
Who's qualified?
If you're a milf,
That's got to be a personal thing.
it's set.
Is there an ID card for this?
I think you could go into the MILF app and like favorite, and then you could actually like have your own MILF experience.
Was it?
MILF
Was the
experience.
original one the Chandler's mom or whatever in not Chandler, American Pie?
Stifler.
Stifler.
Yeah. Stacy's mom, definitely. Also, why aren't there numbers on the B8.5 Stage 2 Plus for normal octane fuel? That's a good question.
It is a good question.
There's no good answer.
It is not a good answer. It's come down to just a time of prioritization. Every time we try and get those numbers, something else has come up. The tunes have been around forever. Really, they also, as I've said a number of times, they don't make that much more than stage two stuff. You get octane limited pretty quickly on that motor, and throwing bigger and bigger pulleys at it is pretty diminishing returns if you're only running 91 or 93. E40 is really where that shines.
Mm.
So that's, majority of the focus and testing and whatnot was on that. The 91 and 93 stuff is solid. Lots of people run it.
It's a lot of questions.
But yeah, it's just,
We've been waxing philosophically.
Yeah.
about-
It's talking too much.
We over-milked it.
Yeah. MILF distracted. Do you need to upgrade end links for the Audi S3 8V when installing a rear sway bar?
Should.
Yeah, it's a good idea because the factory plastic ones will break as well as the metal ones. I've seen those break as well. It's basically a thin rod that's welded.
It's
on each end.
like tack welded in the corner.
And those, yeah, I won't call it a tack weld, but it's not much better than that.
It's a dimple of a weld.
It's an effort to weld a tiny little steel rod to a steel sleeve, and there's enough load and side loads on that weld that it will eventually break. So our end links are designed to hold up to all that. For street use, I recommend our Dynamic Plus end links. If you're interested in racing, then definitely look at sport units. If you ever feel stupid, just remember there's people with cars not tuned by 034.
I don't know if I'd say that.
It's really true.
Hear that.
Truer words have never been spoken. If I daily my B8.5 S5 with stage 2 big crank pulley, will the car fail if I don't have a heat exchanger? I don't race often, just want some extra kick.
That's an impossible thing to answer. I mean, we don't know the condition of everything else in your car, what tune you're running on this, what file.
There is some heat.
There's oh yeah, no, we have thermal protections in it. No,
So it shouldn't blow.
It's just one of those things that we strongly the stock they're not sufficient.
Yeah.
You'll be okay for a pull here and there, but
Yeah, if you just want to squeeze the power here and there and around town and stuff, if you want to row through the gears and get up into like the 3-digit speeds in Mexico, you're going to overheat something.
Yeah.
And not a good idea. definitely upgrade to a heat exchanger.
The safety systems are all still there, but
Yeah.
it's a safety. It's a, you know, it's not something you want to lean on all the time.
Yep.
There's better ways to do it.
Is mixing E85 with 91 to make E40 bad for the engine? No,
That's literally how we set up the 40 blend files.
I wonder what that question is based on.
Yeah.
People think they need to blend with 93.
Oh,
90.
No, if I mean, obviously 93 is not available in all states.
Yep.
So.
yeah. No. All of the calibrations that we designate, all of the blend calibrations, so E40, E60, all those are mixed with 91, so that we have a nationwide available.
You can do higher if you want.
You can go higher. Yeah, you can mix with 93, you can mix with 100.
The E content really makes up for the octane.
Yeah.
The difference between 91 and 93
at that ratio
is really diluted.
Yeah. It's all intended to be, minimum of 91 octane in the mix.
Insta memes have been a straight dub. Only W's for 034. Thank you very much. We have a good time with those. And, I know it's a bit much. We are not a meme account, a meme company.
For 3% of the year.
But for 3 weeks, we have fun with it. Hopefully, you guys laugh at it. You think it's funny.
It's a lot of self-deprecation in there too.
And if you go into the comments, we are pretty spicy in there too. So yeah, just try not to take anything too personally. I think we had some people leave because they got offended, and and they're memes.
Sorry, it's a picture on the internet.
Yeah, it's a picture on the internet that's funny, and in most cases, thousands of people are laughing.
You're welcome to just roll your eyes and scroll past. That's what most of us do when we look at our own posts. So.
One day the B9 A4 guys will also be happy with 034 tune. The year is 2030. 2030. I write that down. Actually, let's put a calendar
You got
for
it.
2030. I think we can. Yeah. 8Y S3 tunes? Question mark. Are the
Answer mark.
the tuning is coming along very well. Hang in there. We should be releasing something.
Yep.
Can I ask you for any performance times on the TTE810 from road or the drag strip? So we did a quick. We literally took a factory S4. We talked about this last week, and we put a full 810 setup on it in less than 12 hours. And in 24 hours later, we ran a 10.0 at 140. So that's what it's done on the very initial setup. We're going to go faster.
This is like
stock suspension.
This wasn't our main development car. This was a bone stock S4. We didn't touch anything. We're doing an oil change on it today. Finally, we don't even know what it's got for oil. The poor thing. It's
probably fine.
I'm sure it's fine, but
we did the intercooler, any required supporting mods, and it had the stock battery. It had some lightning, right? The seat.
Seats are the normal drag prep setup. Full stock
just some interior stuff. And it had a racing downpipe. But yeah. Anyways, so 10.0, just no big deal.
Full brakes, S4 brakes, all that.
Excited for the TTE810 release. Received my upgraded injectors required by 034. Will the Super Duper be released soon for the B9 3.0? Any concern in stock low pressure fuel pump keeping up? No issues with the low pressure fuel pump.
I mean, it's using all of what we've got there.
It's
right now. We've tested multiple units on this one. I mean, it's using all of it.
The factory fuel system is at its limits.
Yep.
We don't have a release date for the intake yet, but it's coming very soon. Hang in there. So if there's no more available on the TT810, what needs to be done to get the full potential from this specific turbo?
So if there is more.
Yeah. There's more in the turbo. At this point, the issues are the factory fueling system and the strength of the factory rates.
Yep.
Before we push any further than this, we will definitely need to do something with the factory fuel system and also rods.
Yeah. And I mean, to be clear, we've made more power, more torque during the development process, but it's not something we feel that
we're not going to release.
It wouldn't be responsible for us to release that publicly.
TTE810 cooling, is it safer to run 93 or 85 in the summer to reduce heat? I think in general, E85 brings temperatures down.
Yeah, E85 is you're gonna run a lower EGT. I mean, yeah, it's more power, but literally it's more power at the same boost levels essentially. I mean, not quite. They are differing between the two, but given the same amount of air coming into the motor, you're getting more power out of it, which means you're converting more of that into energy, not heat. Your EGTs are going to be generally dramatically lower on E85.
Are you guys looking to tune beyond 810 for the B9 platform?
Oh, heck yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we've literally we're like a year into B9 tuning.
For the meat of the
Year.
there's
Been a year and a half argument.
there's a lot more coming.
Does the B9 RS5 seem limiting to you? A lot of talk has been going around saying the B9 S5 and RS5 are super close in quarter million times, and even the horsepower torque numbers at stage 3 plus 720 horsepower. Yes, once you get to stage 3 power levels, the RS5 doesn't have an advantage. The advantage of the RS5 exists stock. From the factory, it's what, 450 horsepower stock, and the S4s or the 3.0T is 350. All right, so Audi's not ripping anyone off when they sell the cars as they stand behind them and design them. The RS5 is an RS. It makes almost 100 more. It makes 100 more horsepower. Once you start going to stage 1 kind of power levels, the RS5 is still has an advantage because it just has more. The twin turbos have more flow capability than the single S4 turbo, although they're not that far off from each other. They're both really fast. I mean, you can be in the low 10s. What's 10.5 on a stock turbo?
RS5. Fastest we've done is 10.6.7 stock turbo.
So we did a 10.6 in the RS5, and what did we do in the S4? 10.8.
But that was heavily different, very different
Configuration.
Yeah.
So let's say
That was on like street tires.
Yeah.
let's say strung out, stock turbo, there's about a half a second that the RS5 has an advantage on, just because it's a lot, but it's about a half second, a quarter mile. And that's with upgraded cooling system.
Yeah, intercoolers on both of those.
Yeah. Once you go to stage 3, power level. So once you can, the RS5 is a 720 horsepower turbo configuration. The S4 has a 710 horsepower. And then there's an 810. So now, really, I think what we're seeing is the RS5 720 and the 810 are similar in performance. For us, we're within a tenth of a second. One's 9.9, one's 10.0. The S4 should have the advantage. It should make a little bit more power.
Yeah.
But both are limited by their rods and their fuel system. So we're at a point now where we're kind of maxing out the parts of the cars that are the same or similar, and it's like we're in a realm where it's like RS5 or S5. It doesn't matter. And I used the analogy a few weeks ago. It's like, comparing a quarter pounder with cheese and a Big Mac, and then if you take those both home and you start adding stuff to them, you throw a slice of filet mignon, a quarter pounder with cheese. Is it better than the Big Mac now? Whatever. So we're off the. I think the problem is people stay stuck in the confines of the ideas of what these cars are identified at when Audi sells them, and once you start tuning and modifying, none of that matters. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would say go drive each if you're trying to determine. They do drive differently. They're different. They've got different characteristics and options and packages for each of them. So, find what works for you, budget and vehicle wise.
And they're also totally different cars. I mean, the RS5 is a 4-seat. You can put a ton of rubber in it. You can put like 295s under it.
Yeah.
That's going to have its own advantages for acceleration, for handling.
Brakes.
Yep.
It has big brakes. Yeah, it has a more aggressive, tighter geared CFA transmission. So, there's reasons to buy the RS5, but the S4 is a great value. And as far as ultimate performance, you can make either one really fast, depending on how you define. So I just kind of watch some of these debates online. I just kind of because it's excuse me, I'm getting over a respiratory infection. It's silly just because you can make either car do it. It's not like we're talking about a B9 S4 and a McLaren 720. We're talking about underneath the two cars are very similar.
Yeah, it is going to depend, upgrade paths and what the industry kind of moves forward with. In the future, there's obviously more turbo options for the B9 S4 or an S5
Right now.
right now. So,
But in 2 months, that could all be a
yep.
Can I ask? IE didn't see any improvement with bigger injectors on 93, 710, 810. Do you think the same would be said for 0.4? Or are you seeing an increase even in 93?
I gotta go over those. There's not a lot because it's going to be octane limited. I do believe there's still a little bit there though.
In general, the fuel system is maxed out with E85, and the power potential is
Just injectors.
Yeah.
Dude, swapping injectors isn't going to matter on 91 or 93.
it's, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, no. The fuel system capacity issue is on E because of the 20 to 30% reduction. Or 20 to 30% increase in demand or reduction in fuel system capacity. Thank you guys for doing this. Seems like there isn't much more that the A10 offers as opposed to the 710 or with the upgrading requirements like injectors that you guys have seen. So, I mean, really, we're at a point now where there's not as much reason for the 710.
Yeah.
The A10 spools up just as fast. It makes just as much power, or that makes way more power. And both bolt on, both require the same supporting modifications. We will require RS5 injectors for A10 tuning. We will be selling those and offering those. They're required for A10. We still don't. Our position is you still don't need them on 710. You never did. So the A10 is kind of a no-brainer, and it's kind of to a point now where it's like the 710 doesn't really have a reason to exist.
Yeah, there's not a lot of. I don't think there's a downside. If you go with the 810, you're not giving up anything that you would get on the 710.
Yeah. I can't wait for the A10 if there is a milf calendar. Oh, I can wait for the A10 if there's a milf calendar. Marketing is reviewing the MILF calendar. There's a project management tool has been created. Are RS5 and 4.0 TT injectors the same? IE says specifically you need 4.0 T injecters.
I off the top of my head, I'll have to look at the exact numbers.
You could go online and look at.
We'll let you know what part numbers.
We're using RS5.
Yeah, I do believe they crossed over.
Does TT do the same thing as Pure as far as sending in your stock turbos to get fabricated for a cheap price? Yes, you can do a core charge with TTE. You can even, I think you can send your stock turbo back to them after the fact and they'll pay you.
Oh, a core exchange.
The problem is they are in Europe. So by the time you spend, $250 shipping it to Europe, it's probably not. Are you testing a stage 2 tune that will work on the stock downpipe? Yes.
Yep.
And keep in mind, we don't have a stage 3 tune.
Yeah, our nomenclature.
They will have stage 3 710, stage 3 810,
Yep.
stage 3 pure 750, so on and so forth.
But yes, we are testing stock downpipe.
Yeah, it's the follow-up question, same thing. Yes, we're looking at doing stock cat tunes for more emissions legal type performance. Will the Flowform wheels have different specs than forged since they're not aimed at tracking? Well, they are.
We've been on track with these a bunch.
You can absolutely track this. This is a Flowform wheel here. So we're just
Here we go.
This is our LP01 wheel. Which spec?
This is the 18 by 9.3.
18 by 9.3,
30.
which is an ET38 for the RS3 and TTIs.
No, this is S4.
Oh, this is the B9 RS5. So no, it's a 9.3, not a 9. And it's actually 9.34 inches. If we want to be poetic. But this is a slightly different design because it is flow formed. So if you look carefully, actually, this is This is our forged wheel. You can see the spokes are more svelte. So we had to add extra material here. And we actually added, to kind of keep the look, you can see there's kind of a step here. And so what your eye kind of first sees this profile, but we added material to the back here to achieve the strength that was required. These are very strong wheels. They're not as light, but they are strong and very high performance. And they're substantially cheap. The cost will be like at least half, which is the advantage of Flowform. The nice thing about Flowformed wheels, which have gotten really popular in like the last 10 years. But I remember when I was a kid, there were wheels that were light, low pressure cast, which is basically the same. So instead of just gravity pouring molten aluminum into a mold, there is a pressure that's applied that forces the aluminum into the mold. This reduces the chance of any porosity, big pores or defects inside the. It's a great technology for casting, and it does produce a very high quality cast wheel. It is not forged. So this wheel started out as a block of ingot of aluminum about that big, and a machine 3 stories tall, the size of this building, squished it into that shape. That's a much stronger, lighter design, much more expensive.
Someone asked if this will fit the RS5. There's yes.
Yeah, it will fit the RS5.
We actually ran these on the RS5. Yeah. You can fit even more wheel than this on the RS5, yeah. But if you're looking for like a drag racing setup, this is a great wheel for drag racing.
Can you go through the 4 colors?
Yes. So we will have this color, which is Hyper Silver. It's basically a pretty classic silver. It's maybe a little brighter, more reflective. You can kind of see that in the light here. We will have our anthracite color, which is that. A lot of people think of as gunmetal. We will have bronze, and we will have what's the other one? Satin black, which is like a semi-gloss black finish. So, because of the lower cost to produce these wheels, we can afford to do more colors and carry more inventory. When I say afford, I'm not talking about like an extra $5,000. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to put these in stock. So it's a big financial commitment. But we have a lot of wheels coming. We'll release more information about sizing and stuff, but we are doing our more traditional 18x8 size.
CB 1993 doesn't really scale up to 20s and 21s. They just have the same price to make, or heavier.
Yeah.
So 2021s, 1890.
Oh yeah. So we're coming with a few designs. If these are popular, we get good feedback, we will continue to expand and make more.
Yep.
So we don't keep it a secret. We currently work with Titan 7 to engineer and produce wheels. We are not a wheel engineering or manufacturing company, so we provide the specifications. In some cases, we do some engineering, but all the validation is actually done by a world-class wheel manufacturing company. So they use the same kind of testing and standards that wheels that are TUV approved. So these meet or exceed all kind of wheel manufacturing requirements worldwide. They are as strong or as good a quality from anything that you would get from the factory as well. So it's a premium wheel. It's a premium quality wheel. I would put these up against BBS or anything else like that in the market. We just don't charge the astronomical prices of some of the other stuff that's out there. All right. If you have any questions, let us know. Can you confirm that TTE810 will have less valve float than the 710? I have been hearing it a lot. None of our tunes have valve float, so we would not release a tune that valve floats. We can actually tune around the potential valve float issue.
Yeah, I mean you can force any motor or any combination into essentially a valve float situation. So that's something you have to determine in the calibration process and find whatever limits that your given configuration has.
However, there is more potential in the motor once valve floats limits are increased, or when the valve float starts. And so we will be releasing products to optimize, to generate more power and reduce valve float in the future. But our initial tunes right now are aimed at maximizing the performance potential below any valve float issues or consideration.
And we've obviously been testing in, at sea level and very dense air situations these days.
And keep in mind, there are lots of limits at this level that are preventing more power.
Yes.
We could max out, we can go into valve float by running too much boost or revving too high. We could max out the factory fuel injectors now. We can max out the factory low pressure fuel pump. We can max out the high pressure fuel pump.
And fold some rods.
We can bend rods, and we could send a rod out the side of the block through your transmission.
Well,
it could
the transmission be a trick.
Oh, Gary did it
on the TT, yeah.
But I'm just saying, there's lots of limits here. You could go around a corner so fast that your tires no longer grip and your car will slide off into the trees. So
the world is defined by limits.
Everything is within limits that are there, and valve float is just the limits. If someone's asking what our thoughts are on dynoing things, and I don't think there's any reason for us to get into that.
Yeah, same conversation. We covered it. If you missed it, we covered a lot of that kind of at the beginning of this talk.
In general, I personally kind of ignore dyno numbers that are generated at altitude. I think sometimes you could kind of look at the delta between like what it was and what it after the run, but the correction factors that are applied at altitude on a lot of dynos just kind of invalidate any of the numbers.
I mean, in general, we kind of ignore dynos almost.
Yeah,
carte blanche.
That's all within. Don't take dynos numbers too seriously in the first place.
We have to release them, obviously, show you what changes you can expect. But again, comparing one dyno set of numbers to another, it's not worth much.
Do you guys have multiple warehouses in California? My order came, but parts are missing, assuming because it was just out of stock from the warehouse it shipped from. Jesus, like things are moving around. Just wondering, the delivery was insanely fast. Yes, we have two warehouses. We have a warehouse here in Fremont, and we have one in Southern California. And so all orders will ship from both those warehouses. If you receive an order and not everything's there, it doesn't mean anything's missing or it's incomplete. It means that you have two packages coming, one from us, one from them. When they both arrive, your order won't be complete. If you have any questions about anything with your order, shoot an email to contact@034motorsport.com. Minnesota supports 034 100. Thumbs up. The 93 Tune Launch 19 SQ5 is so nice. Glad to hear, and thank you for the support. Any chance you're ever going to sell the side skirt decal you have on your cars pictured on your site? So those are not a decal. They're part of some vinyl that we print or have printed. A shop here does it for us. What's their name?
Graphics brands.
Ride Graphics?
Rally Graphics.
Rally Graphics here in the local area. If you want to do that to your car or something, shoot us an email and we could probably send you the file.
Yep.
I think we've been doing that.
We've helped out a couple of various either sponsored or set up cars.
But expect to spend some money.
It's not cheap to do.
It's not cheap.
It's a big piece of vinyl.
Well,
it's custom printed.
It's about $800, right?
Print and install is probably put you about like 13.
Yeah. So over $1,000 to do it all. If you're brave, you could try to do it yourself. Some people do. Have B9 upper control arms restocked? Unfortunately, the inventory management system in my head and the millions of dollars in inventory that we carry is currently not loading.
Especially with current run rates on.
I used to know. I literally used to know like $1 million of inventory because I did all the ordering and stuff myself. So it's been a while though. Shoot us an email to contact@034motorsport.com, and one of our helpful and professional customer service reps will get you an accurate date.
We may not be able to get until 13.
It's going to be a little bit. They're as far as
they're still responding.
Yep.
I just want to say thanks for your help, Javad. My 3.02 issue a few weeks back. my pleasure. I help a lot of people with stuff, so I'm glad you got to figure it out. My question is, are you also looking at the 3.0 T PVC relocation kit or any CREC E85 Stage 2 Plus file? We have talked about the PCV relocation kits and just the PCV issues on B8s in general. Unfortunately, we have just a ridiculously long product development project board, and I think the idea is sitting in there somewhere, but the chance of us actually working on that.
And those valves aren't, I mean, they have a lifespan, but they're not, they perform well when, they're in spec. So it's not like there's a critical issue that everyone is encountering. It's just they have a lifespan. The diaphragm can tear in them after, X amount of years or miles.
That's many questions.
Yeah, no, we are swamped with questions. Or sorry,
I'd say get rid of any updates.
Well, we're about to release that.
Well,
We have like less than 10 minutes. Do we recommend catch cans for B9s? Yes, we do. They do have a lot of oil that comes out and goes into the turbo system. We will be releasing our own catch can soon. Racing Line also has one available if you're interested. What's the best clutch for a Mark 7 Golf R running about 450 horsepower? We like South Bend clutches. The Stage 2 Endurance is a good clutch. Check out the South Bend options on the website. They really stand behind their products too. That's why it's the only clutch we still sell. Do you have a branch in South Africa? I believe we work with VAG Parts down there.
That's South.
That's VAG Cafe? VAG.
No, there's a different one. Just look on our
Go on our dealer locator, whatever country you're in. Someone's also asking about. Someone's asking about buying our products in the EU. And not a lot of companies in the EU will have our products in stock. Unfortunately, that was awesome. GTI and no longer in the EU. But if you want, you can order from us directly, or you can order through any of our dealers in the EU. But I can't think of anyone who's like in a really good stocking position, unfortunately. DSGs are inherently noisier than other transmissions. Would your TCU tune reduce any of the clutch chatter with the increased clamping force? Well, clutch chatter is not from not having enough clamping force. That's from when the clutches are engaging and disengaging.
I mean, chatter is the exact opposite. It's the lack of clamping forces there. So they're the plates are able to have some free play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I'd say they're inherently noisier. It depends on the flywheel setup, your transmission.
DSGs are inherently more noisy and NVH prone, which is one of the reasons why all manufacturers have moved away from them.
Compared to an automatic, sure, yes.
Well, that's why ZF8 and transmissions like that. In fact, for a while, Acura put a torque converter on their DSGs, it's like just to make it more isolated from which is ridiculous. Yeah, we look it up.
Yep.
So the price of entry is well worth it.
Yes.
A little bit of noise in NVH for anyone that we're talking to in the performance universe, totally. I would say don't even worry about that. And also, any Volkswagen or Audi with a DSG is so much less NVH than even any car from 20 years ago. So it's really a luxury.
It's really no different than a manual transmission with if you're just in neutral with the clutch out. It's the exact same essential engagement that you've got going on.
I want to tune my S5 B8.5, currently tuned by EPL. F him. I'm not happy with him. I can't blame you. We do have a ongoing deal, 35% off for any EPL customers to upgrade to our software.
Yep.
Shoot an email to contact@034motorsport.com. We love to assist you. We are not going anywhere. We will always support you. We will even update your tune that you're perfectly happy with. We'll make it even better, and you won't even have to ask. There's that heat exchanger question still in there.
You're in last week.
You're last week.
No, I'm not.
What, this one?
You get that Heat exchange, yeah, still there. Story of my life, me telling my staff that things are wrong, and then
The last one
yeah,
came out
no.
last week.
It did?
Yeah.
You should like move that one down. I know it's been discussed before, but if 034 could release something to gain more negative camber in the rear for the B9, they would have a monopoly in the market. We are looking into it. The problem is on the B8 and the B9, it's like 10 to 15 hours of labor to change those arms out. It's just not easy. So for the average DIY install, it's very prohibitive, and you're literally talking about having your car up on jack stands for days.
Yeah, you got to drop the entire subframe setup.
Yeah, but yeah. So, but we're looking into it, and we understand there's demand and stuff like that. So, I think we had something that was finished and designed for the B8, and that's currently in process. The B9, I don't think is that far off from that. Is there any possibility for B9 2.9 TT with upgraded high pressure fuel pump to have a higher powered 93 octane map as in stage 1 plus for 93?
Nope, we are not limited by fuel on that.
Yeah.
So that is just an octane limitation for what 93 octane is able to do.
And that's why the plus files only apply to the E-tunes, because there's plenty of fuel there.
It's not that we were lazy and just didn't bump up the power 91 or 93. There's nothing more. We're not out of fuel, so the pump doesn't help.
Yep. How close to E60 should you be to run the stage 3 E60 file?
We list the ranges on the website.
Yeah, it says the range.
Yep.
Thank you. Keep up the great work. You're welcome. We appreciate you being here. Any timeline for changing maps on the fly for the B9 platforms? No.
Not a huge priority because it's so easy to switch.
You can literally change maps when they're being. So you just pull up to the Starbucks and do it. Can you guys tell me a little bit about the crank pulley you offer for the B8 T? Yes, that's a fluid damper crank pulley. You can read about fluid dampers technology online. The idea is, it dampens, the harmonics or resonances in the factory crankshaft more effectively than the factory rubber crank pulley damper. There's been reports of cars making more power with this pulley installed due to smoothing out the rotation of the crankshaft, and because these resonances potentially take energy away from the spinning of the crankshaft. It's not. We didn't create this product. We've sold lots of them. People seem happy with it. They hold up well and everything. Not a necessary thing to do, but
yeah, if your stock unit's on the way out.
Yeah. What modifications can I do to prevent wheel hop at the drag strip? Currently having the Dyno Plus springs, trans mount, and PS4 tires. Definitely do any of our inserts that you can.
Yeah.
Diff insert and transmission and subframe inserts.
Yeah, the inserts do help quite a bit. It's all that. I mean, you're loading up basically all these springs underneath the car. And when traction breaks, you have a much bigger, basically pull on that spring.
Our density motor mounts will help, lock down the drivetrain more. But the best thing you can do is to dial in your launch RPM,
tire pressures.
That will do it. But those modifications we listed definitely. The more movement there is in the drivetrain, the more.
Yeah, the bigger the oscillations.
Which is literally what causes the start. How do I get lucky enough to be a tester for the 2022 VW GTI 6-speed? I sent an email but no response. It's like sending a message on Tinder and getting nothing back.
Sorry.
Tell me about that.
No, I think almost everyone's been replied to at this point.
Yeah, we did email people back. Yeah. So check your spam folder or something.
You emailed at 034 Motorsport.
Yeah, make sure you went to 034 Motorsport, not Motorsports.
Maybe have a friend check out your profile pic. I'm sure it's not too cold.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're out of time.
We did it. Thanks, guys.
We will see you guys next week. Cheers.